Okay, we're over here, go to math.com, click on the algebra, go down to absolute value inequalities, and I believe we're looking at the very last one. And what is that? Alright, let's write that down. So I just thought I'd throw this in here. 14. So we've got a bunch of fractions we're dealing with. But moreover, it's the form that this thing is written in that can really throw people off, because we've been looking at it one certain way, and now all of a sudden it's written like this, and this might confuse people if they're learning this for the first time. Alright, well, we're going to get all that straightened out here in just a jiffy. In one jiffy pop. Okay. Well, we've got, I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite the problem here. We've got 14 over 11 is less than or equal to the absolute value of 11 ninths x minus 4 29ths. Now, the way I read these inequalities here, I read them from left to right. You know, 14 is less than or equal to, less than being this is the smaller end, right? If you were to look at distance or something, you know, I see people getting this shit wrong all the time, sorry. If you think of the distance from here to here, okay, well, this is this is lesser than this distance here, right? If you were to think of this as distance, that's kind of the way I see it. Right, so if we were talking about, let's say, the distance, d, and then this distance, and as you notice, the distance is going to what? 0, right? The distance is going to 0. The distance between here and here goes to 0. So this is the less than and the greater than. You can think of it that way. And I read these from left to right, or, you know, I read it in this direction. In other words, whatever this is over here, 14 over 11 is less than this number here. And of course, if it was flipped around the other way, right, this is the greater than part. Okay, well, that's the way I see it anyway. You could, you know, say that the absolute value is greater than or equal to 14 over 11 if you wanted to. Right, you could say it either way. Okay, well, let's get this written back into the form that we normally write this in, and that is the absolute value of 11 ninths. So maybe you can recognize this, and this is what I highly suggest that you do, right, if you see something like that. Of course, right, this part here, which is, some say that's the alligator's mouth, is pointing in that direction, so we want to make sure it's pointing at the absolute value. Okay? The absolute value, the alligator, I don't know, maybe we should put some teeth on this guy, then an eye, looking like a piranha. Maybe we should put a fin there, and let's put a tail. Okay, forget it. Alright, let's you know, I'm just glad this is the last problem. So we've got 11 ninths x minus, I'm going to drop those absolute value bars, is greater than or equal to 14 over 11. Okay? We kind of got off on a tangent there, didn't we? Now, if you're wondering what that is, that's something that you learn about in calculus. We got off on a tangent. You've probably heard that, and you may not even know where that even comes from. Well, it actually comes out of calculus. Kind of. Actually, it does. I guess it could come out of geometry too. What are we doing? We got to get this together. What is that crazy mess? 14 over 11, got to get a common denominator, do some cross multiplication, pull our hair out. If you got any. Thank God I still got hair. 450 over 319. 450 over 319. 11 over 9x. Of course, now what we're going to do is multiply both sides by 9 over 11. That's the reciprocal. That guy right there, that gives us the identity. Oh, never mind if you don't know what that is. Alright, 9 over 11. the identity. Whatever. Okay, so we got x is greater than or equal to. Now, can we reduce that down any? And the answer to that question is, hold on just a second, let me think about it. Whoa, hold on. My brain is still calculating. 911, those numbers come up. And forget it. 450. Oh my God, 3509. So we got some lovely numbers coming up there. Right. Now what we'll want to do is, it's like, what happened here? Well, fish swam into our problem, it looks like. So we got 11 over 9. X is greater than or equal to 4. Whoa. This is what happens when you try to skip steps. I need to go ahead and rewrite this. 11 over 9, x minus 4 over 29. Flip the sign. Yep, I just about got away from me there. 14 over 11. Okay, so we have 11 over 9x less than or equal to 4 over 29. Bring that to the other side, it makes it positive, minus the 14 over 11. Right. And of course we'll want to just do that in our head, because we can do that, right? 14 over 11. And that's okay, we'll write it down here. 11 over 9x is less than or equal to negative, is that right? Yeah, 362 over 319. Okay, now what's the probability this thing's going to reduce down? That's the next question. What is the probability that it will reduce down? So now we'll go ahead and multiply both sides by the reciprocal, 11/9. So you have 9 over 11. 9 over 11. So 362 times 9 divided by 319 times 11. And looks like the probability is 0. Well, anyway, let's see, negative 3258, I believe, over 3509. X is less than or equal to negative 3258. You know, that's just too much for me. Too much for me to handle. 3258 over 3509. My God. 4050, 3509. X is greater than or equal to. Okay, and less than or equal to. That is a headache. Headache wanted to happen. Alright, well, that's the end of this section for now. We'll be moving into the next section hopefully today. Not sure when, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Alright, so we're over here at gotomath.com. You can come on by. I promise if you've worked through all these problems in this section, you've at least got a good idea on how to solve absolute value inequalities. Okay? And see you there.